Hey guys, it's Rob here with a new video, and I wanted to show you my 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 outstanding evidence that what I've been claiming all along is the truth about our planet. And I mean, it should be obvious to anybody after seeing these alignments here. And this will just be one part, I guess, because I already know this is going to take too long to make. So I'm gonna have to break this up in parts, but I want to make it thorough because I can tell by looking at at how much how at how many alignments I have here. It's obvious to me that this is definitely more correct than plate tectonics because these these are observations that plate tectonics cannot answer. They can't account for it. It defies the rules, and that's why it proves that plate tectonics is wrong, and then it also proves at the same time how the planet was really created. And it's to be honest with you, I don't know how anybody could see this and not understand and believe it. Especially, you know, if you understand how plate tectonics works, this should be obvious then that this is evidence that doesn't support plate tectonics, which is a theory, and all the evidence has to support it. Alright, so let me get started here. How this whole thing started for me, well, was with the Hawaiian Island chain. But because of the Hawaiian Island chain, I had noticed this basin right here. They call it a basin. I call it an electrical gouge because that's what it is. And the evidence that I have for you guys is pretty good, actually. So anyways, let me show you what I found. Okay, back then I noticed that this was a reoccurring pattern. I immediately noticed it. I like within minutes of seeing this, I automatically saw that these looked like they were so similar in size that I just felt that they were related. And the fact that this one's sitting like 90 degrees from this one made me automatically think this is rotating. And just the way it looks right here. And but after that, I started realizing that this looks like this and like this, and well, it looks like this and this right here, and even looks kind of like that. I also noticed that, well, not only does it look like this, but this looks like this right here. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know why, it just seems so obvious to me that what are the odds that you'd have two huge land features on the same planet that are shaped like a football and the same size as one another? It's kind of like it has to be the same. It has to be related. If they're that close in size, there's something going on here. But back then, that's about all I knew, and I didn't know any more than that. So I continued researching, and I started to realize that, well, this even fit in there, and so did this, and then after a long period of, I also noticed that after a while, I began to align things up and realize that not everything looked like that, but they're related to it. Like this right here is related to that. So's this. And I noticed reoccurring patterns like this and this area. But then actually, if you pay attention, you can see that this is actually more related to this right here. You can see it in the way the angles are right here. The way this is like that. And it's true, because I mean, what got me is that this looks like the side of a python's face or something right here. And this kind of reminds me of something similar, but better yet, this right here looks like it. This is a reoccurring pattern of this. Even has the same eye and everything right there. And then I realized that this is also a recurring pattern of this. And then what it all boiled down to is I found out that I realized that, where am I realized that these mountains didn't look like anything I've seen before on this planet. They're one of a kind. There are no other mountains that look anything like this. These look nothing like the Rocky Mountains or the Cascade Mountains or the Himalayas, but yet it's related to all of them. And what I realized because of the electric universe theory, that these have to be images of Birkeland currents, huge Birkeland currents. And the reason I said that, because you can clearly see this goes over and this goes under. And mountains just don't do that in plate tectonics. They don't wrap around one another. Because nothing can explain that. So it's probably a phenomena to them, but it's not to me. And I'll show you why. Okay, first I wanted to say, in order to prove that what I'm claiming is correct, it just takes simple logic and a little bit of critical thinking and some common sense. Because what I'm claiming is that this is a reoccurring pattern with all those other images I just showed you, and which means that they're related. So basically all I have to do is simply align them up, and when I do, they should align up with certain features around them that should show you maybe some morphing of the reoccurring patterns or something like that. But it should have stuff that there should be other alignments that correlate, and that's exactly what I want to show you. And to be honest, I have no idea why any troll would think that what I'm showing is incorrect or not possible or whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. If it lines up, it lines up, and it shows a story. It is what it is. And let me just start off, because I'm not sure exactly how I should start this off, but I want to start off with this lining up with this, and then I was going to take you guys show you guys this, because this is important too, alignment with this. Okay, so here you go. I made it transparent, and I just simply line it up. In a way, you can already see that, I don't know, this kind of looks like it's related to India right here. Actually, it looks a lot like India now that I'm looking at it. And that's before I even got this over here. So let me just, you can see this is what I'm talking about right here, like that. And you got this hexagon here in the middle, which obviously is rotation, and I can tell that this fits in there. You can see how it just naturally lines up with the features as I bring it in, and this obviously rotates inside here. But, and then you can see up here, this lining up, you can see that okay, look, you see these right here? You can look at the Himalayas and you can see that those came from there. There's no doubt about it. Look, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3, and you got one missing, 4. And this one's missing too. We got 1 2 3 and a missing 4, like that. And then, yep, sure enough, this round looking one right here with the opening, 2 openings. I mean, well, it just gives the impression because it's dark right there. You can see that as I bring this in, that this is related to it. It just looks like it is, totally. See the right next to it, this, like that. As these line up here, you can tell this is moving through. These are from Birkeland currents, by the way. Okay, so you can see how that fits. Okay, how did it go right here? Oh yeah, you can just see that this fits in here. Like, this just looks like it's related. It's totally related. But it actually, not only does it fit in here, but it fits in the Tarim Basin right here, like that. And I can tell this is the case because you got this right here, right there, see? And there's no doubt about it. And these are the Birkeland currents twisting around, and you can see the turbulence that it caused. You could tell that these are related. This with these Birkeland current mountains. And you can even see that this fits into here. See how it's like that? And then, you got this, what looks like well, it used to look like an S and they changed it with this lake. But it's not really a lake, it's a hole. So, and then if I bring this in more, you can see, look, there's Cuba, and it also fits in here too. And what's interesting is that now I know this is interesting because I know the other recurrent patterns here, but you got the Gulf of Mexico lining up in here, and that's actually pretty significant. As that lines up in here, and then it continues to line up. See how I pulled it through? You can see how it just seems to naturally fit the contours as that fits into here, and so on. So it doesn't take much to think that maybe the Gulf of Mexico also fits up in here too. And it does. I mean, I can tell it's matching some of the features here in this desert. And then you got the Great Lakes, but we got distortion from the curvature of the planet, so I can't really go further than that. But you got this. See how it's all moving this way too? To this overspill. And then you got, well, you got the Amazon discharge pattern, and you'll see that it fits around each one of these knuckles. See how it fits the marks? It's rotating too, it's sweeping. It might even be going in a circle like this for all I know. But it's important because this has a lot to do with the California Basin and the Grand Canyon and Yellowstone Park too. Okay, so, and then when you look at this, you can see that overspill. But let me show you that. Oh yeah, I should probably show you, there's other things that line up too, not just in here. But you can see, as I bring this down, you can see that this obviously is related to the overspill, which then means it's going to be related to this right here, and so on. You see how it fits in here? but there's probably other things too. Let me back out. Oh yeah, there is. Here's an important feature that I haven't pointed out before, I don't think, but I'm going to point it out probably in this video and the next one. But you can tell that this is rotating right here. This is obviously slid and rotated around. And when I put these areas up together, you can see that this ends up lining up down here. This round part is going to be in this other part right here, and it probably hits other areas too. As that other part moves around, this round part's going to hit here. It's gonna be all over this place right here, and I'm telling you that because it's important for what I'm going to show you down the road here. Okay, so that's one overlay. Also, I wanted to point out one more reoccurring pattern of this that's really important, and it's just right over here. You just follow the rotating gouges, and right here above Africa is another gouge, a deeper one maybe, and it's related. It's a recurring pattern of all those ones I've just showed you. So let me show you some more stuff about these recurring patterns. I also wanted to point out a quick observation of these gouges. You'll notice that this one is shallow, and that you can tell that it gets deeper, and then deeper, which lets me think that this is a tunnel. These are basically every reoccurring pattern is a different depth of the original pattern. So that's why you get one that's shallow, then deeper, and then deeper here. And it's what makes sense to me. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, here's that place above Africa. And I'm going to line it up with this gouge here so you can see it line up, and then show you that. Let's see what other features will line up here. Well, right away you can see that this area right here is lining up with India and the features around it. I mean, not India, but Italy. I hope you guys can see that. It's kind of difficult. I might have to do different copies of this. Hold on. There, I'll just, maybe if I turn it on and off. Hold on. You can see how the boot of Italy fits right here. Look, even now it's gone, you can still see the boot right here. Look. And if you move it, you can see that you got this little, this is a dead giveaway, by the way, is this piece that sticks out. And okay, so we got that. This is going to be rough at first, but it's going to work out. Here's the other thing. When this lines up here, you'll notice that here's that overspill. There's that. This is the overspill right here. It looks like material has overflown its banks, overflowed its banks and poured down. And when I line that up here, you can see that you got this scar right here on Africa that lines perfectly up with that overspill. Let me move it around so you can see the whole picture. See, here's the overspill. Here comes that mark, and it fits right there perfect. And then remember I said this is another reoccurring pattern of it, so it fits there. It looks like it needs to rotate is what the deal is in order for the rest to fit. This will fit in here, but then this, if those fit, then it's going to have to fit in here too. And I can just tell it does. I think it rotates though. So anyways, I'll get back to that one with a close-up shot. Okay, so I can see that's lining up too, but that's not important. Here's where things get exciting actually. But I'm not sure what order to do all this in, so I'm just gonna kind of just go through it and pray that it makes sense. Here is that tar and basin, but I took the color out, and here's the overspill. It's all black and white and reversed, so that to help make other things, you know, so you can see the other stuff line up that normally you wouldn't see. And let's bring this into the center. Here's those Birkeland current mountains. Let's bring this here like that. I'm noticing that these line up too as I'm bringing it in. First, this lines up here, and then you got this texture right here. But you can see that that tar and basin fits right below those Birkeland currents again, because everything's a reoccurring pattern of it. So you see how that works? And then look at the Himalayas right here. As I'm sliding this down, let's get a, okay, as I'm moving this down to here, you can see the Himalayas are actually lining a lot up with this, I don't know what to call that, a canyon. It's huge, whatever it is. But this thing looks like, well, it's a nice canyon gouge, and you can tell that this is from rotating, and it looks like this broke and moved here in the middle, like a hinge, like an elbow or something like that. But you could see the resemblance between the Himalaya mountains and this area. And then you bring the Himalayas down again, and you can kind of see that there's a matching going on here. There's a relationship here. And then you'll notice that you got the overspill right here in the right spot, going right into this opening. And then you got India lining up with this. And then this looks like it flips around. You see how this is a mirror image? I've showed this in the recent video actually. This is just a different angle of the same thing. But you can tell that this looks like a mirror image, and that would be because these fold together. This rotates around and lines up because it's been split and reversed, and it's been put in half. Okay, so with that, now let's go to the next one. Okay, here's a really good one, because you got South America here, the northern part, and then you got the southern part right here next to Antarctica. Now what would possibly in plate tectonics explain the spreading that must have taken place here when these line up so perfectly? Let me show you. First I'll start off by like that. And let me point something out too before I get too crazy here. This is obviously rotating, and you can see the crisscrossing here, that this is spinning and it's turning over. That's probably what's making these shapes and stuff. This is what I'm claiming right here is what makes mountains and islands that form chains, because they'd be spaced pretty evenly apart, and that's because of the rotation and the distance of where the Birkeland currents are touching one another, the compression spots. Okay, and then with that said, you can see that we're lining up here, right here, perfect. You can tell that that's definitely related, but it's also related here, and here. You see it? This is spinning, by the way. You can totally tell that this is related. Look at this shape here, right to there. Okay, not only that, you see how this is shaped like that. Look. And this is here in the Gulf of Mexico. Look, as I move it, it still lines up. See how it lines up there, the features? And here. And you can see these. There's that lake with what looks like set over it. You can see that these features here are related to this as it moves. You can see that that's related right there. And it is what it is. And you see how this is like that, and it was like that here, but when you think about it, look at this opening here is the same size and fits around that. And this goes right into it, like an alligator bite or a crocodile. This is a subduction zone. This has no purpose. In plate tectonics, there's no excuse for this lining up with a subduction zone, because subduction zones is where plates go to die. So how could this line up here where you know it's already been there before, I guess. Then you look at you can see that matches up there, but you got the curvature of the planet here I'm dealing with, so it will line up better with straight on shots. This also lines up here with the Amazon River. See how it crisscrosses, and you got the river also mimicking it. And then this fits right into here. You can see that this is related to this texture. Look at how it still fits the Amazon River. See? Here you go, right here. See how it just keeps fitting? This is one of the main reoccurring patterns, so it's going to fit everything that's after it in order, from the order that of creation, I guess. It's solid, but this also follows the Mid-Atlantic Ridge too, because the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is not what they think it is. Look at the... Anyways, let me move on. Okay, here's the Tarim Basin again, and the Himalaya mountain range, which they claim is made by a plate collision. But here on the other side of the planet is Antarctica and South America. And when I bring them over here, you can clearly see they're related to the Himalaya mountains. So how can that be made by a collision? And where is the ridge that's spreading these areas apart, north and south? You see that alignment? Now, you could see that this looks a lot like, you'll see how it's spaced apart. The peaks here of the Himalayas are spaced apart the same as that. This twisting here, which I claim makes mountains. The Birkeland currents that twist is what makes mountain ranges. But look, when I bring this in here, you can see that this fits like a fingerprint on the opposite sides of the planet. Look at that fit right there and here. And you got it right there too. And you can see that it fits each one of these. Look right here. It's completely related to this whole area. I won't have time in this video to do super up close shots, but I will in the next one to prove that these are exact matches. And they are exact matches, and anybody can do this and see for themselves whether I'm lying or not. You can see this matches up here. Look right here. And so on. This will match the overspill, and once it's rotated properly, it'll match up here too, and so on. Matching the gouge out here on India, and it also matches right here. You got this, comes to a point, it comes to the same point right there. It just needs to be rotated a little bit. Okay, so that's that. Now if that matches, then so should this. Okay, here's the other gouge right here above Africa, and I'm going to bring this area right in here, and you can see right away that not only does it match right here, this part is like a drill, the spinning and the turbulence. You can see that it's matching all here with the turbulence running off. And to prove my point, you can see that it's what created Italy's mountains and Italy, the shape of Italy, because look, as it comes in, you can see it's shaped like the boot, or the in between the heel and the toe. But you can see that these are matches. You can see that this is what created the gouge next to Italy and Italy's mountains here. Look at the sizing here, the knuckling fitting right here. See the width, and then you got the toe part, and you can see that everything lines up here. It just does. Here's that notch right here, and you see this hits the heel as this gouges out here. You can see the other features also lining up. You got the Red Sea here, and you can see this is, if this was a tunnel, this is what would have drilled it out. See, as it fits the width and even fits these islands right here. Look at that right here. Look at the mineralization matching the same thing here, right here. Minerals are deposited in swirls and ejections. Well, this is what is swirling it, and this is what it's ejecting it. Look as it fits all the way through. And this right here, as it starts to drill into here, you can see it's what beveled this area right here. And then obviously I believe it rotates. It starts to rotate. That's a reoccurring theme with these reoccurring patterns, is there's a flipping and a rotating, and they all fit the same order all around the planet. Okay, so with that goes here. You can see that's definitely a 100% match, guaranteed. But how this works is that you just take this and you slide it over here, and you got another match. Reoccurring patterns. All around. Gouging this out right here. And I believe then it starts to rotate, because what looks like the end of a banana is right here too, and here. And then if you really want to get awesome, you can tell that the Eye of the Sahara is related to this too. It's the Eye of the Sahara right here, and you can tell it's right here, this whole thing. And this probably, it's obvious that, watch. Yeah, see, look, here's the Eye of the Sahara coming in right there, and then it begins to fit here. Twisting going on here, right there. You can tell that this is related to the Eye of the Sahara. Okay, here's the Tarim base in black and white, and I'm going to line it up with this gouge right here by Italy. And when I do, what's interesting is that you see this triangular, like triangle shaped area here. You can see that there's one right here on Africa, and as I line this up here, you can see that they must be related. And how this works is that this lines up here, and then some other feature lines up here, and that's why that lines up differently. Because this is also a recurring pattern of this, even though it doesn't look like it is a recurring pattern of that gouge, which then puts this in alignment. But you got this overspill here. You'll notice this overspill also fits in this area. where the gouge is. And this is where it gets pretty trippy too. Okay, so take a look at this. Here's Africa again with this crater. Now I showed you that this lined up with the Himalayas and all that over here. But here, take a look at this. As I line these Birkeland currents up with that gouge, like that, take a look around, and you'll notice that that lines up. This not only does it line up here, it lines up perfect, and I'm gonna have to show that in another video where I do close-ups because I just don't have the time to do it right now. But it does line up like amazing. And when you move this over, you can see that there are some things lining up as I move it. I just have to find it really quick. Like right here is good. I think this has to rotate, but I don't want to rotate it just yet. Okay, so let me just show you really quick. This lines up with here, and you can see that Italy's boot plays into this, especially with the heel right here, and that Birkeland currents twisting around. And then on top of that, you'll see that this right here comes to a point, just like this Birkeland current that's been twisted and pulled apart. Like that. See, look. See that right there, and that lines up. You can even see that. Let me flick it on and off. You can see these features lining up with that lake. You can just tell that these are related. And then you got this part that's twisting off. You can see where it twisted off from. Here's the break in it. You can see that it might even be this actually. You see, that's exactly what it is. Look. Let me just show you, hold on. You can see how this is broken off, and this is being broken off. Well, there it is right here. And this probably twists around. Look, you even got the you can see that fits in here. And I'll show that with really up close shots. That's pretty incredible. And then look, you can see that the Amazon discharge pattern is matching these features here on top of everything. Matter of of fact, right there. Darn it, I think I'm gonna cut this because we're at 45 minutes, but there's so much more alignments that I can show here that completely prove that what I'm showing you guys is true. It's what can plate tectonics line up to show that places are related? It can't show any of that because it doesn't support it. But theories don't support observations. Observations support theories, and that's the way it is, no matter what the trolls think. So, anyways, part 2 is going to have more stuff, and eventually I'm going to show really super up close shots proving even on the closest scale that this is accurate. Thanks for watching, guys.